Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Dr. Talks to Anthony. Today we're going to have a set conversation. For those that are new to the channel, we make mental health conversations and content that's been beneficial to your personal development, in addition to your well-being, right? But in today's conversation, we're going to be talking about meaning matters more than happiness, right? So, many people spend their lives chasing happiness, believing that it's the ultimate goal, right? But I want us to understand that happiness comes and goes, right? Same thing like love, something like other emotions as well. But meaning gives us the reason to keep moving, keep going on, keep persevering, even when happiness feels distant, right? So I really want us to understand the difference and normalize that experience, right? So many people off rip feel like, they're failing when it comes to, being happy. They feel like they can't reach that, or like it's just a feeling that's a little distant, right? But social media often portrays happiness as a constant emotional state, right? So we're just looking at people all the time. They blowing money, they're doing their thing. They're always up, they're always happy, right? And we look at ourselves like, why can't we find that complacence in ourselves? Why can't we have happiness too? Why can't it be sustainable for us, right? But let's understand that meaning matters more. We got to see through the facade. A lot of people out here, they playing fake, you feel me? I want to also say too is that when it comes to some studies as well, there were studies were shown about a year ago, something like that. But most Americans only have $1,000 to their name in their savings account. So that shows us, you feel me? A lot of us out here, we playing a facade, like I said. So we can have the materialized possessions, but they don't give us the ultimate happiness. The inner happiness comes within you, right? So the more time you build your self-rapport with yourself, the more time that you have compassion with yourself, you feel me? Mental health, you feel me? You're seeking that support, you're doing things that can be beneficial for you. That's the happiness, right? So pulling forward in regards to psychoeducation, happiness is, like I said, that emotional state. It naturally rises and it falls, it fluctuates, right? So life is not Candyland. Every day is not going to be sweet, you feel me? You're going to have your days when you're going to be pissed off. You're going to have your days when you feel me? You're neutral. You're going to have your days when you're happy. You're going to have your days when you're sad. Like different things are going to, happen to you in regards to, life and how you navigate that journey, right? But meaning comes from, like I said, living in alignment to your values. Like I said, your relationships, your purpose, your contributions. You know what I mean? How you move around, like, you know what I mean? Like that, the meaning matters to you in regards to how you navigate, right? Everybody's gonna be different in regards to how they were raised, their childhood, their culture, and the list, so on goes and so forth, right? So research suggests that people often experience greater well-being when they pursue purpose alongside positive emotions rather than chasing happiness alone, right? So let's stop focusing on what society wants you to do. Let's stop focusing on what your people want you to do, right? And your family. Let's focus on sitting down with yourself and understanding, what do you want to do, right? What are your values, right? ACT, acceptance community therapy. A lot of us out here, we went through real trauma in our dynamics. A lot of us seen a lot of things in our childhood. These are real things that are going on with us. But like I said, we need to understand and unravel what's going to be beneficial for you. Because once you have more alignment in regards to your purpose, your values, you have meaning, you have purpose. You feel me? And that's going to lead you to that greater happiness, right? Than just chasing the instant gratification, the quick little things that's going to get you. It's like, be real. You know what I mean? People out there living the fast life, they got all these things early. They got the designer stuff. They got the designer belts, they got the designer shoes, they got all this, the foreign vehicles, you feel me? All these wealthy possessions, etc. But do they have happiness every single day when they're in these things? No, because they have no purpose, they have no meaning. I got to be transparent with you, right? So people out here that really put the work in, that really had to, you know what I mean? They spent years even undergoing the support. Think about it. If healing gonna take time, it could take years, up to years too as well, right? Same thing for happiness, right? You have to work for this. You got to earn this, right? But like I said, we got to really understand, have self-awareness, understand what's going on. Because are we chasing something because someone wants us to do it, or are we just doing it because we're impulsive, or are we doing it because there's meaning behind it? What's going on? Let's be more intentional, more grounded in regards to our decisions, right? Moving forward, I want to get into some practical reframe in regards to pursuing what matters, right? So like I said, everybody's meaning is going to be different. Everybody's purpose is going to be different. But let's dive into this more in specifics, right? So instead of asking, what is this, you know what I mean, in regards to what will make me happy in that sense, right? I want us to more kind of align ourselves in regards to what matters. What's going to really matter to you, right? Because like I said, the happiness, it fluctuates, it goes up and down. You can be happy one moment and you back to square one, you feel me? So let's get to it, right? So does this align with the kind of person I want to be, right? What am I doing? Is this going to make a difference? Is this my purpose? You feel me? Is it real spill? Is this my values? All right. So I really want to, like I said, be more meaningful, be more intentional in regards to your decisions. Because like I said, everybody's going to be different, but sit with yourself. Really understand like what's valuable for you. You know what I mean? The decision that you make today, is this going to make impact for tomorrow or even for the future, right? Like what's going on, right? So this includes, like I said, joy, like I said, sacrifice, growth, right? Sadness, right? We're going to have to also to let go of, you know what I mean? Some things, right? To be able to get something else. It's going to be beneficial for that outcoming, right? So it's like I said, it's not about chasing the perfect life. It's about building, like I said, a more meaningful one, right? We want to be able to have sustainability. We want to be able to have the skills. We want to be able to have a foundation that we're able to stand on, that we put the work in, we earned this, right? And that provides happiness because we built this. You feel me? We worked for this. We developed our kingdom from ground up, right? And just chasing the momentarily, the quick stuff, right? So, like I said, some examples I want to be able to provide to kind of give us more criteria, right? Is being present with your loved ones, right? Volunteering or helping someone that's in need, right? Pursuing work that reflects your values, like I said. For those out there that are working in behavioral health, working in the schools, after school programs, summer programs, like really working with inner city kids, like you're out here putting this real work. I really want you to understand, like, this is some real stuff, right? So the values, you feel me? And I want to say something too, because I heard something. I also had this conversation with some of my trainees in regards to this orientation I'm undergoing with this job, right? Is that I heard this, right, in regards to people out here that, you know, work in these fields and they pour out to other people. They do it because they didn't receive that love or that support for themselves. So I really think that this is really important because we got to have some connection. You see where I'm getting with this in regards to the alignment, in regards to values, you know what I mean, purpose, you feel me? So I really want us to understand if you want to be able to improve yourself by loving others, you're loving yourself. By loving yourself, you're loving others. So I really want us to kind of, like I said, draw a connection to our values, because that's going to give us the sustainability and the happiness trying to, you know, get to our outcome, right? Staying committed to, like I said, your personal growth, right? Personal development, even when it's challenging, right? So at the end of the day, when you're leveling up, you're healing, people are going to say what they're going to say. People are going to be having their altered development. They ain't trying to learn. They ain't trying to grow. They ain't trying to get the support. They're just trying to be stagnant. They ain't trying to take accountability. You feel me? So at the end of the day, you're going to have to keep doing what's going to be beneficial for you, so you're able to get that happiness, because this is your life. And life's what you make of it, right? We can't control other people. We only can control what? Ourselves. So once you realize that, like I said, let's do what's going to be beneficial for you. Let's get back on your purpose. Let's get your values, the momentary, the possessions, all that stuff like that. You can get that in time, but let's focus on what's important right now, right? And right now is making sure we have the alignment for our purpose, so we actually can walk around out here and have that motivation, have that sustainability, have that willpower, have that, you feel me, like that gracious, you feel me, sense of direction for ourselves. This is very important, y'all, right? I want to dive into some micro action, because when we know better, we tend to do better, right? So off rip, I want you to pause, like I said, ask yourself, get yourself into a quiet area, right? And really sit with yourself, whether it's a pond, beach, you feel me, around the block, like really get yourself, I mean, into a balanced state of mind, right? What matters most to me right now? I want you to ask yourself that. Identify one value that you want to live, you know what I mean? That you're going to live out with, you know what I mean, moving forward for today, like really stand on that, right? And I want us also to take into consideration, like, we don't need to, like I said, I know we have big goals, and I mean, with high expectations, but like really slow ourselves down, right? Good things take time, right? So the small things that we do today make the significant impact for that big future, right? For those out there that are going to school, you know what I mean? For those out there that graduated, for those out there that put the real work in, you dig? We all know what's up, you feel me? So it's like every course in that syllabus added up towards, you know what I mean? All those credits to requirements to be able to graduate, right? So it took us years, it took us time, it took us months to be able to get us to where we need to be. So like I said, the little things that we do today and being consistent is going to make the, you know what I mean? The big difference, right? So I really want us to take that in consideration, right? So like I said, look upon, like I said, your values, really reflect on those, and then use that to navigate you to get to where you need to be. Example I want to also be able to provide, like I said, give some people that visual, right, is that if you value connection, like I said, call a good friend, right? Someone that you can trust, someone that you can like really value the time. On a side note, get yourself involved into a therapist, someone that's able to pour into you, give you the psychoeducation, the information that you need that's custom for you within that hour. Like, make that investment for yourself, y'all. Like, the more that you pour into yourself, the better the outcomes are gonna be for you. I'm being for real, you know what I mean? If you value your health, go for a walk, you know what I mean? The more, you feel me? The more that you take care of yourself, health is wealth, you feel me? The returns are gonna come back, a residual income, you feel me? And also too, the things that we eat in our body, they reflect how we feel about ourselves. So I really want us to understand, like, let's really value health. If you value learning, I want us to take consideration, like I said, find time to read, find time to really, you know what I mean? Build that self-rapport with yourself, right? If you value, like I said, that compassion, right? Perform an act of kindness. I mean, if you got to hold the door open for somebody, if you got to say good morning to somebody, like, do something kind, right? Really work on building the sustainable lifestyle for yourself, and what you do today makes an impact for tomorrow, right? And I really want you to say again is that by loving yourself, you're loving others, and by loving others, you're loving yourself. So you got to be able to reflect your values. It's not about just talking the talk, it's about you got to put these things to action, y'all. So I really want us to understand that when we start doing what we got to do today, it makes the benefit for our future, right? So like I said, let's build the foundation. Let's get that sense of direction. Let's really navigate ourselves towards those values. Let's understand that happiness, I mean, it comes and it goes, but if we're able to maintain that consistency, we're going to have happiness around us. We're going to have that peace of mind around us. We're going to have people with good energy around us, right? So really, let's cultivate these skills, right? So happiness is a beautiful emotion, but like I said, meaning is something that's going to be able to help us navigate every emotion with, like I said, that self-awareness. If you found this video beneficial, give it a thumbs up, share if possible, and I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.